Now let's dive into those new features that we've added to Panoptica this summer since announcing back at Cisco Live in June our intentions to build out a cloud-native application security platform. We can see the summary of some of that information up here at the top, from security scores to trend analysis. So are we getting better with those scores? Or are we actually in decline and getting worse? And then for those CISOs out there, we've built out compliance frameworks so that they can have scorecards to understand where they sit with these different posture assessments and the risks that we're finding. Before we get into attack path analysis, let's take a look at the comprehensive nature of that information that we're collecting. We've got Kubernetes information from the workload protection side, as well as all the cloud platform information from the CSPM side. And we present it in easy to consume fashion. We group them by services. We have all of that information, that rich information here. But we are also doing assessments. We're scoring this misconfigurations and whatever security vulnerabilities we're finding. And you can see those scorings by category, the breakdown. If we wanted to, we could drill down into these scores and understand where the risks are. But again, we're making it easy to consume by highlighting the fact that they're part of attack paths with easy to read icons. They've got vulnerabilities, they're public, and they have CVE issues. But this is not where we want to live. Where we want to live is with the attack path analysis, because this is how customers are going to consume the platform. This is our key differentiator in the marketplace. Because ultimately, as you can see, our engines on the left are generating thousands and thousands of findings, and it's just too hard to know which one to remediate, which one is the right one to fix. And that's a misnomer. That's not the right place to start anyway, because really it's the set of risks that we find that an attacker is going to move laterally through the system to ultimately compromise our sensitive resource, whether that be compute resources or data resources. That set of vulnerability findings is the attack path. And you can see we've gone from thousands down to 50. And really, we've got 4 critical ones. So we've gone from thousands and thousands of findings to 4. And those attack paths run the gamut of compromised administrator access, data exposure, public vulnerable workloads, supply chain, privilege escalations, and so forth. So let's take a look at a couple. See, here we've got a perfect example right up top of how we've integrated the serverless information and risk assessments from the workload protection platform into the attack path analysis. And you can see we've also done that with the Kubernetes information as well. And so we get that rich attack path of how an attacker would move through the system to compromise that Lambda function, and then what privileges they would exploit in order to escalate and compromise the environment. If we wanted to do some security investigations, we have a breakdown of the different risks that we've identified. Scrolling down, let's look at another example where here's an administrator access compromise because the keys are stale and haven't been rotated. And more importantly, in addition to identifying the risk, we need to give the security engineers, give the developers ways to fix it. And that's where our remediation engine comes into play, where we can generate that JSON policy. Now, ultimately, the security engineer needs to communicate with the developers in order to remediate that. And so we have Jira integrations where we can create a ticket, provide the context for this vulnerability, the attack path itself, and really give the developers and the product managers all the information they need to prioritize it, put it into a sprint, and get it remediated. Now, last, I'm going to cover root cause analysis. What is this? Well, we want to find the root cause of what is generating all these attack paths. And it's very likely that there's one or a few risk findings that we've got in the system that are related to multiple ones. The example here is a full access S3 policy that's leveraged across 36 different attack paths. So if we can remediate this one issue, we resolve 36 attack paths and really improve the security of the system. And we know that it improves the security of the system because we have assessed the health score before and after the change, and we can see real benefit from the platform and from this change. It's not just a theoretical fix that may give us warm fuzzies, but not actually do any sort of or bring any sort of real value to the system.